Anyway, just wanted to welcome everybody to our second digital critique for the year. It's not a competition, a critique. And I just want to give a quick rundown of a couple of the things with our upcoming PPLA events. Then I'm going to turn off my video and just be the man behind the curtain. So want to welcome everybody. Appreciate you joining us this evening. We've got a great panel to discuss your images and give you feedback. And a couple of the ground rules. I'm going to ask everybody that once we start critiquing the images, if all the attendees would please mute yourselves. And then so the judges won't be distracted. We don't have any background noises like the cat dish scraping in my kitchen on the floor that you just heard. So also, Cheryl, I'm giving you a heads up that you should have known. I'm going to ask you to co-host because I got thunderstorms over here, and just in case something goes wonky. And Sherry, since you're on the other end of the state, I'm going to do the same with you. You don't need to do anything. That just in case I blank out, that we don't lose the feed. So upcoming, our next event after this will be on June 27th. Phil Collard is going to be doing his member to member on Sunday, June 27th from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. And that's going to be a headshot and portrait workflow. So a lot of these things that we've been talking about so far this year is going to all kind of start coming together. And he's going to put you a package on how to walk through from start to finish all the things we've been talking about. Our next Tuesday conversation will be Tuesday, July 13th and 7 p.m. and the 7:30, The topic is how has your business evolved? Or if you're don't consider yourself a business, how has your photography evolved? So just kind of a discussion of where we're at and how we got, where we came from. Thought that might be kind of fun to compare notes. And the theme will be summer. So pick out 3 to 6 images relating to summer and be prepared to share those if you care to. July 18th is our annual image competition. Yay, state competition where we're going to choose our photographer of the year. Miss Leela is going to be, well, we'll find out whether or not she hands off the crown at SPX on awards night. So Sherry says she's coming after Leela this year. We can find out what's going on.
I doubt she's going to be handing it to me, to be honest.
Don't forget that the president's theme this year, Chantel's theme is surprise. So that is a separate category. I mean, it's something you can check off as you enter your images into printcomp.com to say you'd like that image to be considered for the President's Award. So that, what's your idea of surprise? And if that's going to be kind of fun. And speaking of, so don't forget printcomp.com is what we do our scored competitions through. There is a small fee to join, but that's an annual fee. And then it also lots of live competitions that you can watch for free. Well, there's a small quarterly membership which helps support his website. And if you're coming from us and watching our stuff, it kind of helps us out too, because he does provide the service to the affiliates for free. And there's one other thing, there's something I forget. Oh yeah, the big enchilada, August 1st through the 3rd, SPX, Southern Pro Exposure, our annual convention. And you want to get there on Sunday and stay all the way through the programming to the party on Tuesday night, because the Tuesday evenings when we have our award ceremony, and you'll find out whether or not Leela's going to hand that crown over or not. So come for the beginning, stay for the fun, and don't miss the finale. All that being said, time for me to get quiet. And I'd like to turn it over to Justine. She's going to introduce our panel today and just kind of set up the show. And once she's finished, that we're going to move into the image critique. And so I'm done. Thank you, Justine.
Thank you so much, So, welcome everybody to the critique. It's not going to be as formal as a competition, but it's beneficial to just learn and see what the judges will be looking for in competition. I've learned a lot by participating in everything. So I hope you all enjoyed as well. We have our judges Ed Broussard, Jim Byron, and Tim Babin. And there's some awesome judges full of so much information. So I hope you guys learned a lot. We can start. We can begin. I'm not a judge.
So, and Justine, how has critique and print competition benefited your work? You knew I'm not gonna let you off the hook.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's I've learned a lot. It's helped my work grow substantially. I would say going back and looking at those images from the beginning to what I'm producing now is it's amazing. You know what I mean? Like I used to just the stuff I thought was good back then. I look at it now and I'm like, it's trash. I guess it's good for memories, but I'm like, oh no, I can't believe I was taking that. So yeah, it's just very beneficial. The critiquing and the competition.
I can remember when Justine first joined PPLA, and the images compared to what she had then and what she has now is like 1,000% improvement.
Exactly. I owe it all to y'all. I mean, I pull bits and pieces from every one of you guys, you know, just to the information that y'all share and just looking at y'all images as inspiration too. So thank y'all.
Thank you very much. And I think that's a perfect example of why we do these critiques and the type of relation, not only the information, the education that we gain through our membership in the association, but the relationships that we build too. Because it really is, I've gotten so much from PPLA, and just part of it has been related to my business and my photography. So, time for the main event. I'm getting ready to screen share, and I forgot to put in a blank slide. I'm the rookie at this, guys, so just bear with me. We're gonna pop right in the first image, and it is titled, if I got that right, it's titled Morning Waves. So let's get started. Here we go. The attendees would please mute, everybody please mute except for the judges. You know, should be seeing that now. No?
Okay, Joel, say the title again.
Morning Waves.
Joel, do we have to give a score?
Justine, what you want to do there?
You can probably say what you would score it if if it was competition and why.
Okay. Who's gonna start?
Yeah, I'll start. I'll start. I'll score it out of 78. I'm looking in it. Am I going to talk first? Or we're going to score first. How do you want to do that?
Talk.
Talk? Oh, okay.
Well, score first. You already gave it, so that's good. Score, then talk.
Okay. So I'm looking at an image. It's a design image, and it has these two white circles on each side, which is what you look at, the lightest, brightest. So, you know, where do you want me to look? Which side? You're drawing me to those light, bright objects. And it's probably good. Go on, Tim.
Me next. Okay, so I'm looking at this and it's very eye-catching at first, but you know, as I looked at it, I was like, the score kept coming down in my mind. First of all, I don't know, the name and the print doesn't seem to match. It's called Morning Waves. So it doesn't seem to match, doesn't show that it's morning, I don't really see waves, even though the tracks, if you kind of look at it for a long time, you can kind of think, okay, maybe they were thinking that. Jim, what he said was great. So I would have scored it probably about a 77, 78, somewhere up in that.
Okay, I would scored a 78, and it has been said, but when I first looked at it, to the maker, you have two harsh white examples on each side, and the eye keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I like what you did with the texture and everything. But if you take just one of those wheels and maybe redo it again, that's it for me.
All right. Next image is Bell.
What is that again?
Bell.
Okay,
So
if
you
we
want me to go
know
ahead and go first or what?
if we know the maker, do we drop out or
Not for this.
okay?
Yeah, just a critique. And you want to switch up, you could talk first, and whatever you want to do.
I'll score this a 78. Um, the I like the light pattern, but it's just a little bit too dramatic for a young lady like this. And the hands are needs a little bit of better posing and so forth. But you got the idea. It needs a little bit of refining, and I'll score it a 78.
Okay, I wouldn't score it any higher than that, but I'm going to tell you what I like about the image. The eye relied on shadow to recognize shape. We definitely have a shape. It's a broad lighting, which maybe makes her a little bit wider, but it gives us depth and dimension. And that's what is a big difference in the prints that we look at. They have depth and dimension. Another thing Tim or Ed said, the hands, you're trying to get away from 90-degree angles with elbows and hands. It kind of cuts the picture off a little bit. I like the vignetting in the back. Whoever did this, real close, real close.
Okay, so I would have scored this really low, probably about a 72 or 73. To me, the image is muddy. It doesn't, I don't see really, compared to the black around it, I'm not seeing a lot of true blacks in the print itself. I don't like the way the child is not, a child should be soft, and should be, when they're wearing something that has a light pink, a light blue, a light summer hat, should have a lighter background, blonde hair, that kind of thing. And I would like to see that head turn to the light itself to be short lighting. I would have fixed the dress to not have any wrinkles. I don't like the way the arm is coming out of nowhere on the other side. I also don't care for the way the cropping is compared to the print itself within the lines of the background. To me, I would have cropped that in and made her head go to the point where it was almost at the top of the line in the background itself.
Said everybody? Okay. Thank you. And then get on the right screen. Curly and scaly. Curly and scaly.
Okay, I'll go on this one first. It looks like, all right, so I'd probably score this a 77, 78. One of the things that's distracting, see the hand that's showing at the bottom? It'd have been better if that would have been cropped out, or maybe extended the sleeve or that kind of thing, so that you don't have that competing with your eye. You want scaly to be competing with the eye. Also, I'm not sure if I like it where the salamander or whatever it is right below his eyes, that straight down. If his elbow would have been brought back and then have the salamander or whatever it is over a little bit, so that you have some kind of a triangulation, that would have been, to me, a little bit better.
Okay, I would score this a 75. When the title came out, curly and scaly, and then the picture come out, it's two pictures. Because I could look at the first picture as curly and the second picture is scaly, and you got this black in the middle that doesn't there's like it doesn't connect, put this all together. However, what I do like is the accent light that's barely in there. You got to look at it. So our lighting is very close. You do have a nose shadow showing that we're actually short light, and that's like awesome.
I would have scored this a 77 for the reasons been mentioned before. But I want to compliment the maker on the accent light. It's almost there. And like Tim said, it's almost two pictures. And the arm, that little bit of the arm is really bothering me to crop it out or show more of the hand. And you want, if you do show more of the hand, if you want to redo this or retake it, make sure the hand is like on a level ground. See the side of the hand, not the front of the hand. That's all I got.
I'd like to
Hey,
add one more thing on this one. Now that I look at this more, I think that the salamander should be on the shoulder higher up so that there's not so much to look at, and it would be less of a two picture kind of deal that we've been talking about. And I think that would have, if you go to shoot this again, I think that would help it out.
Yeah, that was a good comment.
all right.
Because these images, this guy is right there. They're right there. They're good portraits.
It's really close. And I like Tim said, if the salamander had been on the shoulder, I think it would work. I'd like the maker to try this over again.
Are we good? All
Good.
right. Queen Anne's lace. See who's up.
I'll go. Again, I'll give this about a 77. Um, the depth of field is what's bothering me on a flower like this. You should not an eye, but you should see all of it in sharp focus and have the background out of focus, and just the front up, very up front of the flowers in focus, and the back is out of focus. Just a little bit like an F22 or F16 would have improved this.
Okay, I would score this about 77. You think about this. It's an object that I'm in control of. I could do focus stacking and put that focus all the way through that top part of that would help that image like a whole bunch. Plus, if you look at your presentation, I think we want to stay away from making the presentation too much, where the judge is looking at it and saying, well, it must be some kind of issue with the image because their presentation has a lot pulling us away and look at it. Go, Tim.
Okay, so I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I'm going to say I'm going to score this at 82. And here's the reasons why. Exactly the opposite of my two compadres. I like the shallow depth of field on this. Give us the name again, Joel.
Queen Anne's lace.
Okay, so when that came up and I thought about Queen Anne's lace, then I saw the image of a flower. To me, it was a perfect name because it looks lacy. It's supposed to be soft, but it's a fantasy type image. We're not trying to say that this is Queen Anne's lace. We're trying to say that it mimics that. So you look at it and you say, wow, that's a fantasy type thing. So with a fantasy type situation, you can have that shallow depth of field. It's supposed to be more of an artwork, almost like a Monet or something like this. And I love the presentation of where that kind of faint I would guess you would call that a faint pink, or if y'all want to help me out, tell me what kind of pink that would be, with the light green line that also mimics the color in the image itself. So if we were in a challenge situation, I would ask, I would challenge it to bring the score up because I see a lot more in this image.
Okay, what just happened there, if we got some new people on here, this is how print competition works. It works because a merit image is an image on a certain day with a certain panel, because now we're supposed to, if it's challenged, we listen to what our fellow judges are saying and we go, hey, yeah, I could look at that a little bit differently and I could bring my score up or down or whatever the case is. But that's what judging is.
All right, thank you. Out on a limb.
Hey, I'll go first. Okay, I'll score this one an 80. I like the composition, the design, the little pastel in the clouds, the placement of the bird. The presentation is not too much, and it's strong. Look at the difference here. We got some contrast and some boldness to our image, something to look at.
I'll score this an 81 or an 82. I like the composition. I like the position of the bird. To me, it's a little bit, I'm being picky, a little bit of overexposed. The bird is kind of washed, the head of the bird is kind of washed out a little bit. Darken that down, darken your mat down quite a bit to emphasize the picture more than the mat. It's almost competing with it. And I like it. Very nice.
Okay, I believe this is deserving of a merit image, so I'd give it an 80, 81. But there is something about the limbs on the right side of the image that's going out and just cutting off that tends to bring my eyes away. I don't know if it's the cutoff or if it's the darkness of the limbs compared to the lightness of the other side. And look, this is nature. We're going to see something like that. But in a light pastel-y look, it kind of draws my eyes away from the bird, and also that his or her head is tilted to that side. Maybe it's all three things, I don't know, but it's just something that I see. But I definitely believe it's deserving of a merit.
Thank you. Mi vida loca.
Okay, who's up?
I think I go first. So I think I think this image is to me is something to work with in retaking the photograph. First of all, this guy is smiling. I don't know what loco I know means crazy. I don't know what the other one means. So you got me there, and you got to make sure that you got to go with the judges. So judges may not know what that is. I don't speak Spanish. I only know a few words. He's smiling. He got a gun inside his waistband. He don't look like a guy that be smiling too much. Not to someone who's never seen him or knows him, and we don't get that connection. So I see this as gang member that probably, or former gang member, or just a tough guy. I wouldn't have him smiling. I would put him in a way more directional kind of light to show a more moody look, because he looks like a bad guy. He doesn't look like a good guy to me. So I would take that theme and bring it all the way through.
Okay, I'll go. I'll score this an 83. I like the lighting on the portrait. I don't mind his expression. I like how he fits in with the design on the background. The gun is separated from his arms, and I think the posing, the square arms go along with our title and blah, blah, blah.
I scored this an 82. The smile could be like don't mess with me type of attitude, and I mean he's smiling because maybe he has a reason to smile. The only thing that really bothered me is the corrugated tin, the striped lines. It really conflicts. I love the lighting on the guy. It's fantastic. Uh, a little bit more directional will even be better, but the vertical lines is I keep jumping back and forth to the background, to the guy, to the background, to the guy. If we could blur that background out some more, I think you'd have a winner.
All right, thank you. Charlie,
I'll go. Uh, I'll score this 79. It's almost there. Um I'm gonna be picky here, but I can see a catch light in his my right and his left eye, but the catch light in the other eye is not quite there, and you need a little bit more separation as far as a shadow on his left, on his right side, and my left. Uh, and the white background to me does not help it at all. I'd put maybe a gray with that black edge on there, and again, it's not quite there. Sorry.
Okay, I would go along with everything that Ed said.
All right, so I would score this probably a 78. Um, I want to really love this picture. Okay, this is what I love about it. I love the tones in it. I love the square cropping. I love all that. I love the detail in the dog hair and that kind of stuff. But here's what I'm not sure if I'm liking. What's the name again, Joel?
Charlie,
Okay. I'm not really a big fan of one word naming. Okay, because it doesn't do anything to tell the story. But this dog, usually these types of dogs, looks like a golden retriever type dog, are usually very happy and very, that kind of thing. And this dog looks so sad, and there might be a reason for that. So what I would do is, if you're gonna tell a sad story, you need to tell it in a story like this. You kind of need to tell that in the title, as far as I'm concerned. Now, one thing about the crop, I love the square, but one thing I don't like is, to me, it's too low. And I know some people will say, yeah, but it's in the third. However, when you have a lot of space above, what is that space doing for you? It's not helping you tell the story in this case. I'd like to see the head higher up and maybe more of the chest of the dog, or closer up.
I'd like to kind of expand on what Tim said about titles. Um, Titles can make or break the print. Uh, for instance, I ask myself, what is the dog doing? Or what's happening with the dog? And I kind of answer my own question with would be coming up with a title, you know, like very sad, things like that. It really helps. Uh, I've seen prints where it would score like maybe a 78, and then a judge would challenge it and look at the title, and it brought it up to an 80. So that's a good point, Tim.
Yeah, and one of the things that about titles is that, print competition to me is about telling a story. And the more story you can tell, the the better chance you got to score, even if you're technically not great on a print. But if the title will tell that story better, then you're a lot of times you might, like Ed just said, you may score higher because of it. That's very important. Titles are very important, and the titles, to me, must have a flow. They have to have a flow to it. to me when it's being read. And so all those things are important to tell that story.
All right.
Good information.
Thank y'all. Excellent discussion. Our next image is class time.
Do I go first on this one?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, so we were just talking about titles. That the title on this one is perfect because you have the teacher over to the left and you have the students over to the right, correct? It tells a great story about with the title. I would not score this a 80, however. I would probably only score it about maybe a 78, and it's based on the title and what those chairs look like that are up against the the outline of chairs up against the old barn looking thing. Now what distracts me is all these, and I know you can't move them, but you could probably take them out, is all of these look like 2x6s or 2x4s coming down off that roof. The greenery, or let's say shrubbery, that's a better word, is kind of in there, and to me it kind of does take away a little bit. And also I'm looking at the crop where they move the picture, the image over on the field of the presentation. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I don't know if I like that or if I don't like it. But I will say this, I'm going to say I don't like it. I would have taken that and brought it down to, instead of putting put the space at the bottom that you put at the top, and let it come right down a little bit. And I'm not so sure that you would have needed to have to place it where you placed it. But I'd have to see it. It's one of those things I'd have to see. But I really love that title and what you're trying to do there.
I was scored an 80, and I wouldn't change all that stuff. I just go by the title tells the story, and it's very simple.
I would score an 80 also. I changed the mat, like Tim said. The other stuff, what I would change would be the teacher's chair, that being one of the main focus of the title. The barriers around it, take it out. The other stuff doesn't bother me. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Next image is looking forward.
Okay, Ed, you up?
Okay. I was just kind of studying it a little bit more. The lighting is great. I like the lighting. The one thing, it should have been raised up a little bit higher to where you could duck that shadow down a little bit. The shadow conflicts with the subject a little bit. I like that you left that oval, half oval window at the top, and I even like the mat. I'd go a little bit darker though again, and I'd score this an 80.
I would score it an 81. It's good lighting. The pose goes along with our title. Very simple. And let's go to you, Tim.
Okay. My problem is I just love black and white. So anytime a black and white comes around, it's gonna poke my brain a little bit and say, hey, wake up, it's black and white. Um, and I love the soft tones that this has. That's a really nice thing. I'm not so sure if I like the pinstriping around it where it gets thick. It looks like it was embossed to one side, and I would have just had a regular pinstripe on it. But the rest has been said. I would have probably scored this right at an 80, just the way it is. One thing I cannot tell from my screen is if the eyes are centered in the sockets on this one, where the eyes are going totally straight with the nose. It looks like they may be turned a little bit away from the nose, and I see that on the face to a degree. I just can't. I wish I could zoom in or get up and go look at it, but I just can't.
I like to comment one other thing. The newbies, if you look at the hands, see how on his right hand it's in a man's grip, uh, very masculine, and the left hand is just laid there. It's not, you don't see the full palm, the outside of the hand at all. This is well done also.
Hey, let me comment on this. Tim, look at the pinstripe again and look at the direction of the lighting. That's why the other side has that shadow. Just saying.
Yeah, you point that out, but you know what? I still, I would have rathered just that same size pinstripe, the smaller side, all the way around.
Okay.
That's why we have 3 judges with 3 opinions. Next image, we don't have a title for.
Who's first on this one?
Woo. Well, they're tough when they don't have a title. Wow, because the title is important because it's the first thing that you got something on your brain when the picture comes up. Okay, I would score this an 80. I would score it an 80 because it has dramatic lighting. It does have a direction to our lighting. I like the drama to the depth from the lighting. And I know Ed's going to say he doesn't see the catch light on the other side, but that's okay. I like how we got the mask of the face lit and there's detail throughout there. And the dog's just a nice color to go with the vignetting in the background.
I'll go. Jim, I'll agree with you on this one. It's kind of even though you don't see its right eye, it's kind of gives it a more of a dramatic look on this one. And I would crop it a little bit lower to the head. You have too much room at the top. You're almost there, and crop the top and see what happens.
Okay, so in my opinion, I go down to the other side, 75. One's the cropping, can't see the eye. Even though I like dramatic portraits, this one's not. I don't know if the pose is totally correct. Now, if you're going to do something like this to me, and one of the things that we're saying now, we're critiquing, and this is something I could never. I'm not gonna say I never could say, but it's something that you don't really do is tell them how to redo the portrait. But this is a different thing, and we're trying to critique and give people an idea of what they can do to improve. What I would have liked to have seen is this dog looking back to the left or whatever, or to my right, to his left, in a more dramatic fashion with this kind of lighting. And then to me, that would have been a little bit better. The dog looks static to me. I know it's a dog, so it's tough to get them where you want them. But the thing about it is, you get rewarded for a degree of difficulty, and to just shoot this picture to me doesn't show a lot of difficulty, because the dog was just sitting there looking like, okay, are you going to feed me today? Maybe that should be the title. Are you going to feed me today?
Interesting. Just another comment there is if you got that much black on it, make sure you got detail through there.
Thank you. Next image is Whistling Trio.
I'll go. I'll score this an 85. I love it. The only critique I'd give it, I'd go down with a darker matte. The lighter matte distracts a little bit from the picture, but you got your 3 Mexican black belly ducks, and the composition is great. The tree is even great. whoever done this did a very good job. I like it very much.
Okay, I'll keep it going in the direction Mr. Broussard has it going. Let's look at the ducks, okay? If you look at the ducks, they form a triangle. If you look at the long branch and the tree up, it forms a triangle. And if you look at the branch over to the left where you pulled out, it curves and brings you back to the duck on the top. That's pretty fascinating. Yeah, I like this image too. This is deserving of a high merit.
And give me the name again.
Whistling Trio.
The name of the ducks is Mexican whistling black ducks.
I love the name, the title here. It says it all. And one of the things, like Jim had said, you know, the ducks are forming a triangle, a trio, triangle. Everything seems to fit in it. Ed said about the mat, I totally 100% agree with him. The right mat, the right, um, right color of mat. I think this could be approaching the late, the higher 80s as far
High
as,
80s.
yeah. So I'll go with that. Ed, you made a great initial um, of this. I think that was really good.
Yeah, well, it goes to the maker. It stands out.
Thank you. No title on the next image.
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. Um, okay, so one of the things when you look at this, at first it seems like I would be scoring this higher than what I would. Initially it looks like it ought to be somewhere around an 80 print for me, but when I start looking at it, it drops. So here. This is a great teaching image, by the way, and to me, it's in this like 75. Okay, so here's what I see. First of all, I see a skin tone that has a greenish look to it, um, um, which to me is a little bit distracting when I go to the face. I don't see it as much in the arm, but it seems like I see it in the face. Um, Her hand that's down the elbow, I would have relaxed the hand a little bit to soften up the hand to go with the softened up smile. She has a great expression there. In this case, a lot of times, some people would say that the um, the the way the head's turned is too much. I like it turned a lot in this case because she's looking back. She has a tattoo on her arm, but the problem is it it's hard to tell if it's a tattoo or maybe something happened there, like it's dirty or it's had some mud on it, or who knows what it is. But personally, I would take that out if you're not going to see any more of that. Here's another thing. She looks like she is a thin lady, but with the clothing, I don't really care for the clothing a whole lot. I don't care for the stripes and the pattern. You got green in the background, you got warm in the front foreground. The way that is tied makes her stomach look big. And I don't think it's big underneath there if you were to put her in another outfit, something that would be more spring, more greenery, even though I know this is a summer style, but the color to me looks like a fall style. I would like to see all that. And I'm saying that as if I'm tearing this image down, but really I think you got something here. The girl's beautiful, so that means that you could title it in a way. So there's a lot to be said about this image, but it's just a great teaching image, I think, for me.
Okay, I'll go score it a little bit higher than Tim. Uh, he about covered everything. I think that let's say something good at the 2/3 view of the face. That's my favorite position of the face for the reason that if you turn your face so the back ear don't show, you have a shape to the face. You're not in competition. There's a lot of angles that more masculine than feminine, and Tim didn't notice where her hand is leaning on a rock. It looks like she's holding, but it's actually her belt that leads to that bright spot on her belly, whatever that is. I would surely get rid of that because that's what pulls you away from looking at her face. Go ahead, Ed.
Uh, when a client would come to my studio, I'd even in the summertime, we do it in the studio. I would recommend long sleeves as much as possible. Um, what's happening here is that the arm and all the flesh, or the both arms, is competing with the face. The main subject of this is the face. The clothing is going to go out of date. Everything's going to go out of date. And until Jim pointed out that she was holding the belt of her outfit, it just looked like a man's fist was ready to punch somebody out. And on a young lady, pretty young lady like this, it should be very elegant and flowing. Like Tim said, it's a teaching image. This this young lady could be photographed again, and with the outfit is what's, I think, bringing it down more than anything else. There's too much flesh showing for the face itself. That's it.
So one, just to follow up on this, whoever the maker is, I bet you the girl loved it. Okay. Remember that this is a saleable image that has nothing to do with competition, so to speak. But if you go and you try to match what is happening in competition, then they may love it even better because it does, all the elements are there, you know? So just to say.
Thank you. Gentlemen, we're an image over halfway. Does anybody need a quick 5-minute break or do we want to keep going? We're just over halfway.
I'm all good.
All right. Well, we'll keep rolling. Next image, a power greater than a church fire.
I'll go on this. I'll score it a 79. It's almost there. I see the story. I believe in it. You could have moved that wire. If you would have removed that wire, man, what a great image. And the way you have it cropped all the way to the side on the mat, this is something that to me should be in the middle with possibly a higher top and a lower, uh, more of a mat at the top and the bottom instead of left or right. Um, it wouldn't have, it would only taken a second to take that wire out, and it would, you would have a image that could go into the high 80s easily.
I would score that an 82. I don't have a problem with the wire. I guess you could change your mat. I'm not even looking at the mat. I like the tone of the image and our center of image. Interest is, I think you would get it. You just have to read a few words. You're not going to read the whole thing. But I think the title and the image, yeah, it's worthy of a solid merit.
Okay, so as the title was read, I was like, okay, this is a long title, but sometimes long titles are needed. And in this case, I think it was needed. Everything that Ed said, I think is right on. One thing I will like to comment on, and in my mind, that's what I was thinking as soon as I had everything else in the image gathered. If you notice, this looks like it was taken um, in the morning. It's very bluish. Fact is, it may have been taken in the shadow during. You get this kind of really blue light after a cold front comes through sometimes. And the thing that I like about that blue is that it contrasts the warmth to me of the Word of God versus the coldness you feel in an emotional way after a fire. You know, if I've never been had a person that I knew that had a fire, but to me, it's one of the worst things on earth that could happen to your home is a fire, or to a church is a fire. And that coldness, that empty feeling you get when you realize we just had a fire and our church is burned down.
Good point, Tim. You don't know the emotions that you're going through. We had our studio burned down, and you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, I thought the blue helped the image. And
Yep.
it's blue in the shadows of the black, it's blue on the paper. Yeah. I like that, very imaginative.
Anything else?
No, but I'm wondering. I bet I'd love to be able to see, or I guess I could. I'm wondering what other people are thinking. They're listening to us judge these things, and I'm thinking, man, these people must think, good Lord, they really think about these images a little bit, or oh, they way off. And I don't know why, but on this one, it's kind of has me thinking like that.
That's funny.
That's the power of our images, Tim. Next image, the McCalls, retired and at rest.
I'll go. I'll score this about a 77. The you do have 3, which is great. Um, the lighting is good. Again, the matte is almost blends in with the sky. You need a darker tone matte and possibly a little bit larger. Um, exposure is right on. Next.
Okay, I'll score it an 80. Okay, it does have a tree, it tells the story. It's very simple. And I know those boats. Anyway, yeah, I think that was score an 80. Nice pinstripe. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, so on this, I would probably be just under an 80. Um, it to me when I first looked at it, it almost looked like a cut out image for the whole part of the mat when I first saw it. And I do see the white pinstripe, but as Ed said, I think that the mat needs to be a different color. And I don't know what that color should be. I'm just saying I think it needs to be a different color. um I love taking photographs of boats and the bayou and all that kind of stuff. It's really a lot of fun. And you know, these kinds of things make you think. I think of Louisiana when I see these types of things, you know, because this is the kind of stuff you're going to see all over Louisiana, in the southern part at least, when you go into the marsh and all that kind of thing. And I've been seeing these since I was a little kid, going fishing with my dad on the intercoastal canal and all this kind of stuff. So it brings back memories. So that is what this is what photography does. Just like Joel said, you know, it's the power of our photography of what brings it. So, you know, I think that's just a matte change to me would get me up into the merit category.
All right, thank y'all. Next image is waiting and watching.
Okay, I'll do this one. I'll score this one an 86. I like the concept of using the long, tall, thin line print. The bird is definitely waiting and watching. He's in a perfect place. Now, look how the darker border just holds me in the picture. This is nice.
I'll go. I scored an 85. Very well done. Even the bird is looking in the right direction. Of course, you can flip flop it anyway. I'd like to see a little pinstripe. This is just minor picking around the picture. I don't see a pinstripe, or maybe it's there and doesn't show up. But a little pinstripe will separate it even a light gray. Very well done.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is deserving of going into that category, 82, 83. One thing I'd like to comment on, I noticed that most all the photographs that we're seeing with the birds, they're all looking away from the sunlight, which is a little different than if we would have been doing a regular portrait. And I know people are saying, okay, yeah, but you can't go and move his head. But the thing about it is, I think wildlife photography, you gotta know something about composition and all that to get these kinds of photographs. But it's also about patience. I mean, you hear people that do wildlife photography that had an image in their mind with a particular animal, and they waited sometimes years to get it. And I think that's one of the things that's important, is to go out and think about that patience when you're going out to shoot wildlife photographs.
And they never cooperate.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next image, no title.
Okay, who goes? I go? No, go ahead. You go. Go ahead, Ed.
I score this below 80. I would say around a 76, 77. To me, one of the biggest distraction is the color of the pinstripe around the gray. There's so many other colors in there that you could have picked out of the picture to put a pinstripe. And I'd like to see the mats a little bit larger surrounding it. The lighting is good. Pants is kind of distracting. I know you're going to say, damn you hard, Ed, but the his left foot is cropped off. It should all be in there. I like the flag in the background, spotlight effect. It can be worked into a mirrored image, but there's a few things you got to correct.
Hey, Joel, tell me the title again.
No
No
title.
title.
Oh, there's no title.
Well, it has a
Okay.
title, but it's my fault for not letting these guys know they needed to put it in the image.
Okay.
I don't know
Yeah.
what the title is. Let's rephrase.
Hey, well, here's a big secret to our print competition. The first judge already told you there's some issues. Well, if you learn to put your issues in your title, that helps you float some of them prints through.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I would score this about where Ed is. It needs a little bit of help. I think he said about everything. But yeah, title would surely it leads you. It helps us move forward. But I like the lighting too, and I think Ed said everything. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Ed was correct on the feet and all that. I feel like there's some story down at the bottom that we're not seeing. But so here's the thing to me. When I first saw this, I thought, wow, that looks like Howard Stern. Okay, I mean, it looks just like him, but I don't think Howard Stern plays musical instruments, but he could. Who knows? And then I started thinking when I saw the flag, it kind of reminded me of Jimi Hendrix doing the oh shoot, the Star Spangled Banner with the guitar. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And I see the blue light and and all that, and it's like America and that kind of thing. But also a rocker is kind of a hard, a badass, that kind of thing. I don't like the feminine head tilt. I would like to have seen more of a masculine head tilt and more of a rocking type, and maybe even actually playing the guitar as if we weren't there, but we were just shooting what he was doing.
All right, thank y'all. Next image, frosty morning.
I like very very well done. I like the composition. We have 5 leaves. I like the background colors, complementing the image, the main image. The mat is good. It doesn't uh, affect the main image at all. In fact, it adds to it. I'd put this in about an 84, 85.
I'll go
Okay,
next.
I would too. I would score this 85. It has impact. It's definitely something different. One of the biggest speakers here is showed them something they'd never seen before. The color balance is good. Center of interest, lighting. Uh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'd say 84, 85. Shoot, I don't even know why we wouldn't go higher. I mean, there's something about this image. The title's wonderful. But here's the thing. Sometimes you have an image and it's technically great and everything's wonderful. And then you score to 80, 82. To me, this is artwork here. This is, not every I know photographers call themselves artists, and I don't like that pretentiousness, but this right here is art. And so and I've always said I'm kind of just a technical photographer, but there's been a couple of times that I've touched art with my images, and to me this touches art big time. I love it. I'm not going to say anything bad about it because I love the way it looks and I love the way it makes me feel, because I can relate to Frosty Morn. I can relate to some of those Frosty Morns, people going hunting, that kind of stuff, or whatever. This just makes me feel good looking at this print.
All right. I don't have the title on the next one either, and that's not the title.
Okay, he looks familiar. I'll score this 80. He has detail all through. Now he turned his head short light, so people didn't like the broad light and like the short light a little bit. He's a child and he has room over his head to grow. I'm kind of helping him out because that's what they're gonna say. Oh, he doesn't have room to stand up. Yes, he does. Okay, he's beautiful dog. He's awesome. Catch lights. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I agree with Jim. My only question was this shot with a normal lens or telephoto lens. I know the nose to me appears a little bit larger than normal. I'm only questioning it, but other than that, that's the only criticism I can bring forth.
So I guess I'm the bad guy because I would not score this an 80. I'd be somewhere around 76. Cropping to me is something that I feel like is needed more to bring in. And when you said, oh, he has room to stand up, I was like, boy, that just made me laugh out loud. I was like, oh yeah, okay, good. That was so funny.
Hey, well, I was for the image and I wanted to help it. I knew you were going to say that. Hey, and as far as his nose being bigger, whew, it's tough if you're going to guess which lens they use.
All right, moving on. Treetop perch.
Wow, I like it. Should I go first? I think I just went first, huh? Okay. Going to go first? I'm good. Everybody agreed? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm going to score this one an 89. Okay. The bird is the only contrast dark thing in the picture. And it's our PowerPoint. And he's facing the right direction. And the tree is that's nice how it's put in, where it's not dramatic. The bird's the only dramatic thing. I just like that. That's like awesome. It's so simple. Go ahead. Tell me you like this.
I like this too. I believe an Anagia. They also call a snake bird. Very well done. Usually see sometimes a lot of vegetation around the bird, but this is very good to be able to capture him on that single limb. The cropping is great. The placement of the bird is great. Would like to see a little bit darker mat, but I would put it at an 85, 86.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'd probably be around an 85 also. Um, all been said, but I have a question. Does this bird have webbed feet?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a watertight bird, swimming bird.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Next image. My work has been done.
Can I go first on this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're up.
My work has been done. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking of the title. And what I'm seeing is looks like a room that has been underwater, flooded. And instead of maybe the work has been done, looks like the flood has been done. I'm not gonna say they weren't an old pair of work boots, but it looks more like disaster damage than work from work boots. So to me, I might would change that if and so that's what it is. Um, there's something about this image that makes me look at the shoes at the top and the other boot, and it's almost like two images to me. I'm not sure why that's happening, but so that's my deal. But I would probably not, to me, I don't feel like I would score this above a 76, and it's mostly because of looking. I don't know why my eye keeps going back up to the shoes above, like there's another story there somewhere.
I would score this a merit 80, and I'm just looking at the central part of the story, which is the shoe, which is at the end of look like something happened. But yeah, go on, Ed.
I agree with Tim on the title. Uh, More like a flood or a hurricane or something like that happening or happen. Um, I keep going back and forth, like Tim said, to the shoes, to the other pair of shoes. The main shoe is a little bit lighter. It could have been toned down quite a bit and darken up those shoes, or even uh, burnt those shoes in, make it darker, and have the main shoe stand out a little bit more. Um, at first, it when it first came up, it really grabbed my attention, and then my eyes started wandering. And right now, I'd put it about a 79. But if you make a few changes to it, it could tell a great story and get up into the mid 80s, maybe. That's it.
Can I ask something since this is my image?
Go ahead, Lee.
Should I crop it in more or burn the top two shoes out?
Well, it's your call. The judges are saying that the shoes are competing with the main shoe. Um, Darken it or darken your bottom shoe to make the background go darker. Use like a curve adjustment and go dark.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a problem with the back shoes. I thought they are toned compared to our subject. You might look at those white papers there; they're a little bit lighter, but I didn't have a problem with that, and that's just an opinion. What you could do is you get a big computer screen, put it on there, turn it upside down, turn it sideways, and look at it and see where your eye goes. That's all. That's just an opinion.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, go ahead, Sherry.
I like this image a lot because it's got so much of a story to it. You just have to pull the story out with your title a little better. What about something like a walk through disaster? That
Wonderful.
has all the shoes in, and the disaster can be whatever kind of disaster. Just an idea.
Wonderful title, Sherry. That was
Yes,
wonderful.
yes, agree.
I'm gonna agree with I'm gonna disagree with my buddy Jim, and I'm gonna agree with my buddy Ed. I would like to see the shoe darkened and everything else darkened also, because I think the shoe is a little bit light, that kind of thing. And you know what? If you can, you'd have to crop it in, I think, unless you use Sherry's title. If you use Sherry's title, you don't have to crop in. Fact is, you can show more of the shoes. Okay. If you cropped in a little bit on it, maybe you could show even more shoes, which would make it better. So I think Sherry brought in a great point and a great title.
Yes, indeed. Agree.
Sherry, can I use that title?
Sure.
I didn't even know what it was. I forgot it.
She'll get it to you later.
With the copyright.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll
that was
send
fun.
it to you.
I think she'll send you her Venmo code, and then she'll be glad to give you the title.
Yeah.
Sherry gonna give that
Hey,
away for free.
Lee, I was only kidding.
Sherry gonna give that away. I know her.
Lee, I believe it was walking in a disaster.
All right, next image without a title.
I'll go first on this one. Or did I go first on the other one? I did, huh? Y'all go first.
Go ahead.
Okay. Black and white, love it. Okay. There is something to me, this image is somewhere top of her head and almost to the elbows is where this image is for me. Everything else takes away. Well, I will say the hands are nicely posed where they are, but I don't like the hard edge of whatever you're draping the drape over. And I believe that she is going to have a real, I mean, maybe this should have been full length or something to show all of it, but I like the way everything is posed there. I will say I might have moved the hand. If I was going to do a fuller length, I might have moved the hand over to where it drapes across the hip. But I'm seeing all this and I'm like, wow, that looks really good. Now here's some cleanup ideas. The hair is distracting. The one over the shoulder, that's the big loop. Got to take that out. There's some other flyaways and that kind of stuff. Remember, you are playing a game to the judges. So the more you can make the judges happy, the more you're gonna, and then once you get your master's degree, you can do whatever you want. But I'm just saying that the to get to the master's degree, the real thing is to play to the judges.
Okay, so what would I score this? Probably scored at 77. What I like about it is the lighting. You got to ask yourself, did you really make a connection with your subject? That's why, again, the title is important, because you could be sad, glad, happy, mad, and you could title it so that you could see. But I just read an article today by Mark Mann. Did anybody read it? It came out in the PPA magazine. Mark Mann, he was a great portrait photographer. He said the number one thing is, I got to make a connection with people. And most of the people he photographs are celebrities where he's got 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. He doesn't get a lot of time. So it's a little bit more of an effort. But in these type of situations, we have more effort. And although I do a lot of this stuff where they're sad, mad, I do dark, gloomy lighting. I could look at prints where I didn't make a connection with the model so well that made it in the loan book because the lighting was good. This picture has very nice lighting, and you get away with stuff. But you got to ask yourself about that. Did I really make a connection with this person? And I'm just saying because it's an opinion. Go ahead, Ed.
I kind of have to agree with Jim. If you want to rework this print, it'd almost be a horizontal instead of a vertical. And if you could possibly smooth out that sharp edge on the whatever she's leaning on, and take out that curl. Um, it could go to possibly an 80, but I would almost reshoot it myself if I'd have to. I'd give it right now. I'll score it about a 76. So
All right. Our final image. Dazed orange Cosmo.
Okay, I'll go. Hello? Good.
Go.
I'll score at 85. Hey, look how bright and beautiful that cosmos is, placed in a perfect place on the image. And I like the pinstriping. I like the out of focus background, and the little orange spots there shows that there's some more cosmos. And I love it because I got a lot of cosmos in my yard.
I'll go 83, 84. All had been said.
Okay, so when this came up, good title, good presentation. The colors are beautiful. You can see the greens and the oranges and all that kind of thing and all. So I think it's a lovely print, 83, 84, somewhere up in there. One thing I think, and it's just my own personal thing, I'd like to see the cropping maybe on the right side of the image to where you crop it to where it just tips the corner of the stem of the flower at the bottom. I'd like to see it at least because I think that there's some extra space that you don't need, and I think it would look nice doing that as a super skinny on the same size background, just moved over, a little bit, but beautiful image.
Hey, Tim, that would lose the background out of focus cosmos. Just saying.
Yeah, I think I'd still like to see it better. So that was the last image. So I would like to hear, and I know when I judge, I'm a meanie. I tell you, I mean, I don't make it sound too sweet when I'm judging, but critique us. How did we do?
As a hush falls over the crowd.
I think y'all did great. I entered some of my images because I needed to kind of figure out what would do the best, and I've got some good, valuable feedback from it. So
All I know is I don't want to play poker with Sherry because I was watching her while y'all were critiquing her images, and she did a really good job of keeping a straight face.
well, I was thinking the whole time that they might be watching me. I can't act like I'm mad at them.
That's funny.
I think y'all did great. I don't enter portraits very often, and that's what I'm trying to enter some portraits, and I appreciate the input.
Yeah, definitely. I like the input and little tips on different little things that I really didn't notice and probably should have paid more attention to, and it really helped out. And I got a question: how do y'all? I know color correction too, but how do y'all make sure y'all colors correct between each person in the club? I mean, my color's correct, for when I print Miller's is dead on, but he said something about one of my images having a green hue to it, but on my screen it's, I don't know, to me dead on.
Yeah, I remember that too. I didn't notice the green hue.
All right.
Might be my monitor.
Yeah, we calibrate our monitor to the people that do most of our work.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. I just want to be try to be on the same page, kind of make sure I'm not messing things up on my end, so that way when I do submit another one, it's not off.
Well, at the state competition, it's done differently. So they'll be seeing the same picture. All the judges see the same image on their, well, I guess
Screen.
their monitor could make a difference still on it. But the images do come through better through printcompetition.com than a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's good. The judges are going to be working off good calibrated BenQ monitors. So if you're,
Yeah.
if yours on the money, it might not be exactly the same, but it's gonna be close, and they're all seeing the same thing. So
So did anybody like really ticked off? And if you would, I'd like to hear what some of y'all have to say about whose images, like whose was what, you know?
yeah, let's just ask if there are any, if anybody had any from the audience had any questions in terms of, you know, go
I
back.
didn't I didn't submit any, and I just watched, and I know it's recorded. I came in late. Where will it be where we can watch it again?
Here again, I'll have to send you my Venmo code, and
Are we putting this
Well-
like on the YouTube?
we'll get it. Yeah, we'll get a link posted to the private group.
Okay.
I have an interesting thing to say. The image Queen Anne's lace, it was
Loved
mine.
it. That
and
was yours. Sky was beautiful.
It was mine, and that is actually the name of that plant, Tim. I didn't think you knew that, but it's called Queen Anne's lace. When it opens up, it's white and it's real lacy looking. But that was the first time I'd ever seen it before it opened up, and I thought it was real interesting. But what I wanted to say was, I let my friend who is an IPC judge look at my images for me and critique them, and she liked that image, but she said this could either get a 77 or a 100 depending on what judges look at it. So y'all did that, y'all were split. So in light of that, I may not enter it just because, some people are going to like that shallow depth of field and some people aren't. So
Oh, come on, just enter it. It's
I might enter it at state.
It's too beautiful. No, enter it into something that counts on the national level, because
Well, if it does good at state, I'll send it on to IPC. I think we have time to.
Yeah.
wait.
but remember, you could get a 77 at state and get a 90 at international print competition. I mean, you know how that rolls, or vice versa.
Yeah, a couple of things that I think, I don't Sherry or Justine, I was trying to look real quickly in my folders to see if I had a couple of graphics I could pull real quickly to put up the 12 elements of an image, a merit image, and then also the scoring range. But maybe that's something we could get posted in the group just as a follow-up, since we didn't talk about it ahead of time, to kind of let these guys, the newer folks, see exactly where the judges were supposed to have been coming from in terms of the elements of the image, and also understand a little bit better about the scoring system, because it's different, I know, than like the GSCCC or PSA score. So pretty much, the heads up that for us, if you get in, the magic mark is an 80, so 78, I've been 78 to death, and it's like close is only good in horseshoes. You want that 80. So
you want the 80, but don't forget at the state competition that if you're not a master photographer, 78s and above can get awards.
Qualify for awards. So good, thank you. Good.
Now, there's still good images.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But 80 is a merit, right?
Correct.
Because I know sometimes they say 80 deserving of a merit. I've heard that.
That's just kind of judging language. That it is, I score it as an 80 because I believe it's deserving of a merit. So in other words, it gets a merit.
So it's not you don't get a merit.
No.
You're not just you get it. Okay.
I feel it deserves a merit, so I'm going to give it an 80. I don't think it deserves anything else, anything higher, but it's a merit image. You've crossed the threshold.
I was talking with Lee during the week, and I told him, and I'm not bragging, but I've been a member of PPLA since 1976.
Wow.
And I'm still learning. It becomes a passion, and passion of love, and I can't wait to get back out there again and do some things.
We can't wait
So,
to see you out there.
so talking about the print competitions and that kind of thing, this is going to be funny to y'all. When I started entering, which was in the mid 80s and late 80s, one of the things that we used to do, remember, we shot film back then. So one of the things that we used to do was we would take these little black cards and we would take 5x5s and cut them down, and we put them on 5x5 cards, and we cut the image down exactly the way we would want the image to be cropped and the image to be put on the background kind of thing. And then we would go to our friends when we were at the at PPLAs or whatever, and we say, okay, look at these 5 prints or 6 prints or whatever, and they were on like cards, and people would look at them and say, okay, you need to do this, or you need to do that, and it was funny how there was a couple of us that did that. So I think that that's important to talk to friends, talk to people. Most anybody in PPLA probably help you if they might put you off for a couple of days, but they would help you, that kind of thing. But it was important to do that. And print competition, to me, I've been to a lot of judgings and the national judgings. I went to the school twice. One of the things that was important to me was that I was not looking to do print competition so I could get a medal to hang around my neck. I was doing print competition so that I would become better in my normal photography. And so, boy, did my photography get super better within just a few years after going into print competition, going to the national judging and that kind of stuff. And it just really taught me how to be a better photographer for my everyday work.
Let me add another tidbit, please. If I had a client that would come in to the studio and they wanted a portrait made or anything like that, they all have an idea of what they want and how to do it. And of course, I'd listen to them, but almost in every case, whenever I had an opportunity, I would tell them when thought I was finished, can I do it the way I would like to do it? Set it up the way I would like to set it up. And 99 out of 100, they would overlook what they thought they wanted, and they would buy the print that I set up for competition.
Even though they don't know why they like it better.
Right.
They like it better.
Let me ask you this. I don't know whose image it was of those autumn leaves. It looked like an artsy image.
Frosted morning, frosted something.
That was mine.
God, was beautiful again.
It was out hunting one morning with a little artwork added to it.
Would that be considered more in the artist category or the other categories?
I don't think it's the artist category. They're judging you on how difficult something was to create, and I'm not sure that one's quite up to speed for that. I didn't add any, like I don't know what I would put as guide images other than maybe the original image and then the final image. It could go both ways, but I'll probably enter it in illustrative.
Because
maybe in an illustrative other category that we have for state.
Because it's like I'm not sure if I should just take photos right out of camera and do as little edits as I could, or if I can edit heavily where it looks artsy like that.
I would say you need to edit to the way that you feel the image should look at the end. I know a lot of people that want to use the say, oh no, I just want to use raw images straight out the camera. I'm like, okay, you could do that, but to me, I think you need to do the amount of artwork that it takes to get it to the category that you want it to be without making it look fake or anything.
Mm-hmm. I'll just add that my highest scored images are the images that I work the most on. So
Leela, which ones did you have in this one?
I had Mi Vida Loca.
What does that even
I
mean?
thought he was cool. I thought he
That
was
is,
cool.
that is my crazy life. And I was gonna ask y'all, do you think in light of my crazy life, the smile is okay? Because I think it's kind of a
I think the
slide.
smile went with the crazy.
Yeah, I think so.
I was a yes, the smile went
Okay.
okay with the
And I was a
title.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tim
but
wanted him to be a tough guy, not a crazy
Well,
guy.
One
But-
question.
no, he said he didn't understand what the title was.
Yeah.
Can I put in parentheses next to Mi Vida Loca, my crazy life on the title?
No, you're gonna bet there's gonna be enough people there that knows what that means. Just
Hmm.
because, like Oscar Lazoya, he put all those, what was the death thing in Spanish culture, Morati, was it the word? Yeah, I mean, he titled them all in Spanish.
Oh,
And he scored all hundreds and 88s, 99s.
because my
Yeah, it was
crazy
all right.
life's not as interesting as Mi Vida Loca. I don't
You
think.
could name it My Crazy Cousin or My Crazy Cousin Vinny or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's when you use the word couillon. Yeah, you know, my cousin, couillon, Tim or whatever. We from South Louisiana.
They won't understand. PPLA will understand that, but PPA won't understand.
No.
Right. You can't lose your judges. That's the main thing, Leela, that you just have to take that gamble if you leave it in Spanish. All I understood was crazy. And that was
Yeah.
enough.
That should be enough. My other one was looking forward, the black and white of the boy in the window, the senior boy in the window.
I thought that was yours because you showed me it the other day. I'm like, is that Leela's?
Yeah. And the lizard, the lizard is a gecko. That's mine too.
The lizard is yours?
Yeah, and I do have a
What's the,
picture of
gecko- what's the lizard's
on it.
name?
Nora.
Nora.
Yeah, Nora wouldn't have been a great title. I don't think, Leela. I think
No, that's
Curly
like
and Scaly's better.
no. I was kind of thinking. I had asked my family about titles, and somebody said 15 minutes will get you 15%.
That's what I was thinking.
I was kind of thinking on those lines, but just
What does that mean?
And then I don't know if I'm going to enter it. I've got pretty much my case full. I just wanted to put some portraits in.
I know I'm out of popular culture, but what does the 15 minutes get you 15%, or what is that?
Geico.
Geico Insurance.
Okay.
Insurance
You
commercial.
don't
with
watch
the
TV.
lizard.
No, look, I watch Turner Classic Movies and I read books. If it would have been about the Civil War, I probably would have known what it meant. If it had been about the Revolutionary War, I
Hey,
probably would have known.
hey, Tim, we don't even have a TV. I knew that.
Yeah, well,
That's
Here,
funny.
let's see,
What about the black and white of the boy? Do you think it has a chance to merit to go forward? The boy in the
Take
window.
their advice. Take their advice.
liked it.
I liked it. I thought it was beautiful.
I agree with you that it looked better in black and white than color.
Absolutely, yeah.
hey y'all, I did I had to go. This was around Thanksgiving time, and I went down to Dulac to photograph for a priest. He wanted some images of the local area, birds, shrimp boats, and all that kind of stuff. And I took a photograph of a a pelican that was flying. I don't know if it was a pelican or a heron. I can't remember now. But what I do remember, it was a great image in color. It was the first image that I've ever seen that looked horrible in black and white. I think almost all images, if you change them to black and white, they can, if you do the right kind of black and white, it can still look beautiful. This was the only image that I've ever done that I wanted to be a black and white, and it was horrible. And I just love black and white. And I'll tell you, Leela, the image that you had, what I liked about that image was the tone of the photograph. Even though it was a warm tone, it did not make the young man look too, like, you know, you can have a feminine, you know, the warmth of warm tone can be feminine sometimes. And I didn't find that it made him look feminine at all. It was, it still made him look masculine. And I love black and whites when they come up. I just think that they make me stand up and say, okay, what's this about? You know, because I just love black and white so much.
Well, I'm glad you like it. I never thought of the color tone of the black and white like that. I didn't realize that.
Think about it. Everything adds to the ending, so to speak. And sometimes it doesn't always affect it in a bad way. It may affect it in a good way, but you know, tones, lighting. You know, if you want to show a woman that's harsh, don't put her in soft lighting, and I wouldn't put her in soft black and white. Put her in harsh lighting with harsh black and white. You know, everything adds to that tone, you know, that kind of thing. I remember years ago, Dick Goodall, who was very, very good at competition. I remember he had some images where he had a little boy, and he was talking about the fantasies of a little boy, and he had multiple images in this thing, but he put swans. And I'm like, little boys don't think about swans, okay? Not in a judge's life, okay? Judges think boys, ducks, girls, swans. If he'd have had a little girl there with swans, to me, that would have made a way bigger difference, okay? It would have gone with the theme of things. And I know maybe some judges don't look at that kind of stuff like I do, you know, or maybe it's lost on some people or whatever. And look, some things are gonna be, what your print with the Hispanic guy, you know, that was lost on me. Okay, I didn't know his crazy life. I don't remember what that meant. You know, I knew loco means crazy, but I didn't need to know the rest. You know, so sometimes it pulls through, and you're gonna you know, judges are stupid, so you got to remember that you got to play down to the judges sometimes.
Mhm. So, Tim, did you just call yourself stupid?
Of course I did.
Glad I wasn't a judge.
Well, we are on certain things, but you notice though, like on the print with Sherry's print, with the lace thing, to me that just made perfect sense. I didn't know the name of that plant was called that. It looked like that. It looked like it was lacy to me. It looked like it was supposed to be a fine, delicate. Lace is fine and delicate. This was a fine and delicate flower. It just all put together, you know, and yeah, I love that image. I tell you what, that is a beautiful image, Sherry. That was artwork. That was art right there.
Thank you.
And Sherry, where did you find all them skinny trees with?
Well, actually, different lakes. Every time I go out in my boat fishing, I have my camera in the compartment so I can yank it out when I have opportunity. My mom gets mad at me though, because she's trying to fish and I won't get her up to the tree right because I got to get just the right angle on the bird. Speaking of fish, this has been fun, but I got to go fry some for supper, so I'm gonna have to go. But
Why does she have to live so far away?
Everybody. Huh?
Why you have to live so far away?
I wish I did live closer down there.
Uh-huh.
Well, y'all have a good evening. I've enjoyed it.
See
Thank
you
you very
soon.
much.
Thank you. Enjoyed it here too.